Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So this is my day 19th of my public speaking journey, and as usual, I will be extemporing my thoughts on the new. So today I would like to talk about the uh, about Indian engineering. So to define Indian engineering, what is Indian engineering? When you talk to the international or first world nations, Indian engineering means, or Indian engineers are cheap labors. As per Americans or as per French or any other first world nations, Indian engineering is known as cheap labor. So, what is Indian engineer for Indians versus what is Indian engineering for the international? As I told you, Indian engineering is cheap labor for the international people. I mean, first world nations. So, who are we? Who are we Indians? What kind? I mean, is this all? Is this all? Is Indian engineering all about cheap labor only and service to the first world nations? When you look at into the deal, so when I say Indian Air Force, doesn't mean, or when I say about Tejas MK2, that doesn't just mean about the military power or Indian defense. When I say about Tejas, I'm not saying about the military power. I'm talking about our engineering. So this is all about the engineering, not the military power. So when you look at into the deal, Rafale deal, which is $7.4 billion deal, which we are purchasing or importing more and more Rafales from the French. Yes, Rafale is a beautiful machine, a beautiful uh, aircraft, just like any other thing, any other brands in the world, or any other. We can say that when we think about German engineering, we think about BMWs and Mercedes. When you think about French engineering, we think about Rafales. We think about Bugatti. When you think about Japanese, we talk about Honda and other brands. So what does they think about when they think about Indian brands? What does Americans think about Indian brands? What does Germans think about Indian brands? Do they even have an idea that we are capable engineers? We have capable engineers, not just cheap laborers. Indians are not just cheap labor. Or we can say that, do Indian government know that we are not just Indian, we are not just cheap labor? Do Indian government know that we are just not just Indian cheap labor? We are capable engineers. When you talk about my engineering, of Indian engineer, we have a lot of shops, people. We are talking about engineers who say that we know a lot about analysis. We can use Power BI, we can use these tools. But when you look into the entire whole picture, we are just cheap labor. What does Indian engineering mean? Cheap labor. So the Rafale deal, when it comes to the Rafale deal, $7.4 billion on importing uh, foreign brands. But we are not focusing on our own brand, Tejas, HAL. What is happening? Why aren't we being invested with 1.4 billion of our own money or on our own brands? Is my question. Where I can find show-offs They're saying that I'm an engineer, I'm a management level, I'm IIT, IIM, IIT pass out. I'm a very big engineer. I know analysis. We talk about these um, uh, pretentious, pompous engineers in our nation. Yet the funding is going to French engineering. It seems like the idea of Atmanirbhar is just in the words. It seems like the word Atmanirbhar is dead. As I told you, this deal talks about Atmanirbhar, the hypocrisy of Atmanirbhar. We are not funding on Tejas or HAL, Tejas or our own engineers. So for me, Tejas is not just about our fighters, our military power. For me, Tejas is about our engineering. Even when we look at the Tejas MK2, the engine itself is an imported engine. Whereas F414 engine is an American-made engine, which we import from the United States to India, and we built on top of that. So what does it make us? Even Tejas, when we consider Tejas as an indigenous aircraft, it still lacks the engine, which is not even Indian. So who are we? Where is Atmanirbhar? Why isn't 1.4 billion? Why isn't 1.4 billion invested on in the Indians? Where are we going towards? I mean, why can't we compete with the Rafale itself? Why can't Indian brands compete? Why can't there be a fully Indian breed of machineries? Are we just pompous, pretentious, pompous asses who says that I am from IIT and I am a bigger engineer than you're a bigger engineer than them, but yet we don't make anything. Even even our engines is not even Indian. So the idea of Atmanirbhar is just in the words, and it's just a word, and the facade. Atmanirbhar is just a facade, and rest of everything is just imported. This is what I want to say. We are filled with pompous engineers. We are filled with IITs and IIMs, yet nobody takes actions. Even the Indian government would like to invest on French government. What about Make in India? Tejas or Make in India is not just about Tejas is not just about military anymore. Tejas should be Indian. Tejas must define Indian engineering. Tejas must define that India isn't just a cheap labor. That should be what Tejas' legacy must be. Tejas defined Indian engineering, but Tejas doesn't define engineering because the main engine itself is American made. Thank you for watching. So this is my day 19th Extemporing public speaking practice. Thank you for watching, and please give your feedback in the comment section.